The following is a presentation of TFNN.
Good morning, I'm Nico and Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. And I'm Paige Clarke. Good morning.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater. Yeah, 50 degrees, going to go up to about 68, 69 degrees today.
And still beautiful. Hope you're enjoying the weather where you are.
Clear
and keeping
skies.
Warm.
Yep. And if you have any questions for the show, any suggestions, you can reach me at nico@tfnn.com.
And me, Paige, at tfnn.com. And we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, exactly. Well, tell you what, we got a good show going.
Yeah, one of the things is I found this article, the simple mistake people make when they're trying to eat healthy. And,
in the Washington Post.
Yeah, in the Washington Post. This is interesting. I forget the nutrition label, the facts label, the ingredients list, and this is what the experts are saying. A new study finds that shoppers think a food is healthy only when it costs them more. Mm-hmm. And this was done with a bunch of researchers from...
Yeah, it was from the journal. The study, it's going to be produced in the Journal of Consumer Research. It's the latest evidence that your brain may work against you when it comes to choosing healthy foods. Mm-hmm. And they say our subconscious associates the cost with health. What they say, healthy equals expensive intuition, and it can prompt shoppers to spend more money than they have to.
Yeah, and these are probably the people that are shopping at like the whole food market, because everything seems to be higher priced at that place than most of the other stores that I've frequent, like the food fair and like our local place.
It could be. I mean, you know, knowing the Washington Post, my personal preference is not one of my favorite publications. Mm-hmm. But, you know, again, there's great lobbyists. It could be some of the GMO manufacturers are saying, hey, too many people are spending money on organics in general, not just Whole Foods mm-hmm. or Earth Fare or Trader Joe's. They're not going to Safeway anymore. They're not buying the, you know, just what I call standard food. Mm-hmm. And I get what they're saying here. That I think that many times, and there's a lot of people that are more affected by packaging and so forth, but mm-hmm. I think this can be true, and I think this can be false, too. Yeah,
well, this is a 2013 study published in the Journal of Appetite, and they concluded that no rational choice are the basis for most of the food decisions. In other words, you're looking at a package or you're looking at a food, and the more expensive one you perceive to be healthy, and this is what they find very common. And if you
just like women with cosmetics.
Yeah, kind of. Or the golf pro with their little putter that costs a lot more.
Everybody likes to have an expensive putter, right?
Yeah, you better believe it. That's for sure. So this was a three-pronged test, or actually experiment. And one of them, people were asked to order more healthy choice of 2 sandwiches. This was one of the tests. And they consistently picked the more expensive one, even when the researchers switched the prices. In another test, subjects rated an unfamiliar vitamin, DHA, as a more important to a healthy diet, or was advertised as part of an expensive trail mix.
Well, first of all, right there.
Trail mix.
Yeah. Since when do we find DHA in a trail mix? As you guys know, DHA is actually a nutrient found most often in cold water fish. Mm-hmm. And so, interesting.
Yeah, in the final trial, they said they were asked to evaluate reviews of a new and super healthy protein bar, which costs either 99 cents or $4. They spent far more time reading the reviews of the 99-cent bar, a sign the researchers suggest that most couldn't believe a healthy item would cost so little.
Yeah, they're looking to see, why can they be so inexpensive when the other one's $4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see people doing this, and I can. I think I've even remember myself doing something like this, going up and seeing the more expensive one, and especially electronics too. It's not just food. We just have a tendency to think that it's more expensive. It's probably is better for some odd reason.
Well, it says that the researchers said that their results suggest that consumers have this very overwhelming sense that healthy equals expensive, and that has a big impact on their food decisions.
Yes.
I might be a little bit more that way.
Yeah, specifically, health-conscious
but
shoppers are potentially overspending on products that aren't necessarily all that good for them. Budget-minded shopper may ignore their groceries.
Their grocery stores, plethora of cheap options. In other words, they may just walk past them because they assume, well, it can't be good if it's at Safeway and it's the buy 3 for $1.
Yeah, we're so used to seeing the end of the aisle, those big things where they have all the cheap goods, and that's where you would buy normally. If you're buying Coca-Cola, you want the cheaper one because it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, the researcher said that this is this healthy equals expensive is just one of, quote unquote, a universe of mental shortcuts that we rely on to choose food and other things. And she feels it may very well be flawed.
Yeah, even the shape of a food's package plays a role. Researchers in the Netherlands recently found that consumers think foods in thin packages are healthier, so it's a smaller package. Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, exactly. So, unfortunately for health-minded consumers, rewiring this sort of, they call it heuristics. That's the term they've given it for their research. They say it's difficult to rewire. They are, after all, a normal part of our psychology, and that is why advocates such as the couple of the researchers have advocated for more oversight of in-store food marketing, which they say kind of exploits our mental exhaustion. We're so bombarded with information.
Well, the whole point of this thing, the expensive does not equal healthy. And I even think for the people who are working in the stores, they're going to arrange their packages not according to health, but probably according to what they feel they can sell and what's more profitable.
Well, and again, we're talking a lot about packaged foods. I mean, I can honestly tell you,
not just packaged foods, but the way they arrange things. You're gonna pay more attention to the food, at least as a store manager, that has a higher profit. You're going to display it better. It's not based on health again. That's my contention of this thing. I mean, if I was a store manager, that's probably the route I would go, because probably my salary and my job and bonuses are going to be tied to me making more money for that store.
Yeah.
So I've got to think about the profitability instead of the health. And probably that the non-profitable foods or the less profitable foods are probably more healthy in a sense, because we don't mess with those as much. I mean, a healthy food is one we don't really mess with. We don't really process.
Right. When we're talking about like a fresh, perishable food, those are not as expensive when you look, let's say a bag of apples compared to a bag of chips when you think about the nutritional density.
I'm talking about the profitability of the thing. If we're talking about a whole food that's shipped across country, that's grown, and now we're displaying it in the store, that food is not going to be as profitable. Yeah. And it also is
one of the reasons
perishable.
why we like to see more local for those types of
I think
foods.
that we have to, as a consumer, we're going to have to dig in and find out what's healthy for us. This is the experiment we're doing. This is the research that we're doing. And that our needs are going to be based on health. We're not going to be based on packaging or how it's displayed. And that's what the store is doing. They're going to be displaying it because of profit, most likely.
Yeah, so this article ends with, you've heard of mindless eating. This is the same idea. All you need to do is just stop, take a second, think about it. A little double-edged sword. I think this was probably written to help all of the, what I call the standard grocery items that are suffering. But I think there's truth on falseness in both of that. But we got to take a break.
Stick around, folks. We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionics, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor, Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back to the show. Nora the Good Goddess is launching a new book. She sent me this invitation. It's called Primal Fat Burner. And it's a book launch and a charity. Unfortunately, it is in Oregon. I won't be able to make it. But if you get a chance, anybody listening wants to do it, it's on the, let's see, what's the date here?
It's up at the top. Yeah. January 14th, 2017, at the Pearl District, downtown Portland, Oregon. There's going to be cocktails and wine sponsored by Dry Creek Farms. We check them out at Bulletproof. They keep you in their wines. They've guaranteed will keep you in ketosis.
Cool.
I need to order from there.
That's for sure. So I was listening to a podcast on the rewilding guy, Danny.
Yeah.
And she was on there. And also we have this great article, Are You a Fat Burner or a Sugar Burner? And Nora is all about putting things in perspective. And, of course, she was the first one that really got me to thinking about fat burning itself and becoming just a fat burner and getting sugar and carbohydrates mostly out of my life, especially the processed ones.
Right.
And how that she was the first one that really explained to me that we have 3 macronutrients that we consume as human beings. And fat is the number 1, number 2 is protein, and number 3 are carbohydrates. And pretty much we've got them all skewed, mostly. Yeah, we've got them skewed because pretty much all packaged food is carbohydrates most of the time. And carbohydrates are very inexpensive, they're easy to manipulate, and a lot of profit comes from those things. And so our food processing companies have been really concentrating on those. And as Nora explained in her excellent book, Primal Body, Primal Mind, that we have 2 complete needs for 2 of those macronutrients, and one is being as fuel, the fat, and the other one, protein, to help rebuild our organs.
Structures, yeah.
And the third one, carbohydrates, is kind of a optional fuel that can be used and is stored in a completely different manner than fat is being stored, and that we really don't need them. And the proof, of course, is ice ages and the Inuit people. And another interesting fact about the Inuit people, they have a society that before the white man was there, they saw no mental illness. They saw no homosexuality. They saw no child abuse and no murder. It was the only group, and they were forced not to eat the carbohydrates. And when we look at the world today, the people who are consuming most of the carbohydrates come from the Middle East. And so this is not to say this is a fact that is in stone, but we do see this trend that carbohydrates create havoc in our body. And if we stick to just the non-processed ones, then probably we're doing really well. But if we're eating any processed carbs...
I so agree, because so many people that are eating too many carbs are foregoing fat. There seems to be this fat phobe with people that embrace a lot of carbohydrate eating.
Carbohydrates, too, are alcoholic, are not alcoholic, but they're...
addictive.
Addictive, just like alcohol is. And alcohol, of course, is at the extreme end of carbohydrates. It's almost an entity into itself. It's so extreme. So people who are alcoholics never really get over it. And so probably we never really get over our pull to carbohydrates, especially the baked ones like the bread. We always have that pull when we smell bread. It's so good for us. So I really want to discuss this, and one of the things that she mentioned too is that the saturated fat is the protective fat.
Right.
And it really makes sense because if, let's say we're taking the omega-3s that we always rave about, we're talking about cold water fish oil, and we put it on the table, and we just put it out on the table and pour it, what happens is it starts to go rancid. And this is at room temperature. So what happens to that same oil when it comes in our body, which is even warmer?
Well, that was really the work of Ray Peat.
Yes.
Yeah, the PUFAs.
The PUFAs.
When you talked about that podcast, the rewilding guy, Danny, is it the same Danny that did all the work on Ray Peat's blog?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, that's a different Danny.
Okay.
No, but he does follow.
Okay, so exactly.
What we're saying is that the omega-3s probably don't do you any good unless you have animal saturated fat along for the ride.
The way nature would have it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, I mean, when I heard this, and, you know, I've been following her for a long time, and this is the first time she really outright mentioned it, that if you're not eating saturated fat from an animal and you're consuming all these other oils, all the olive oils and these things that are monosaturated, and PUFAs, which are polyunsaturated.
How many people are just ordering fish oils and they're so scared of saturated fats?
Yeah, well, if you take people who are now vegetarians or vegans that don't consume many animals, and now where are they going to get the saturated fat from that's from an animal? They're not going to get it, which means the PUFAs that they're actually taking in their body is probably doing more harm.
Creating free radical damage and rancification probably beyond what you can know.
That was a big light that flashed in my head when I heard that, and it makes so much sense because as I consume more and more saturated fat, I feel better and better, and everything else kind of goes along for the ride. So this is the really basis. This is why our ancient ancestors were so good at picking out the healthiest, best animals. Remember that most predators go out and they go after the slow animals, easy to catch. They go after animals that have been hurt, scavenging. They go after the sicker, the older ones because it's an easy meal. Man did not do that. We had a propensity to go after the large animals and the healthiest ones. And this is the point she was making. I encourage people, it's the latest from Danny Vitalis.
Danny Vitalis. Okay, right. Oh, I love Danny. Yeah, he's awesome.
And, you know, he's the ultimate primal guy that goes out and hunts and does all the things that I wish I could do. And maybe I could do it.
It's very interesting because Danny kind of started a little more on kind of the vegan side.
Yes, he did.
He was kind of more on that what I call the David Wolf side.
And
although David Wolf is kind of coming around a little bit.
Yeah, more and more. You know, all these people are starting to see the light because now in all these great universities that we always talk about are doing these experiments, and these are the conclusions that they're all coming to, that we need to be keto adapted, that we need to be fat burners, that we need to consume much less in the carbohydrates and up the fat. And the fat is the key. 70% fat is for fuel. And it makes sense because it's stored all over our body.
So let's start this article a little bit by just setting a little preface here. Nora says, you know, everyone's talking about wanting more energy. And as a result, you know, we've had this whole proliferous amount of energy drinks coming out. That was a sniglet word, by the way. I don't know how that came out. But you know, everyone's drinking these energy drinks. They're drinking all these sugar-laden coffee drinks at Starbucks for energy.
Right.
But the thing about these things is they really spike the blood sugar levels. And, you know, some people think, oh, that's a good thing, right, to have energy? Well, no, it's not. And as Nico just said, it's really fat, and ideally saturated fat, that should be our prime source of energy, but you've got to be able to burn it. And a lot of our metabolisms have been damaged by all these ready-made carbs that don't give us the kind of energy we need. And kind of setting a little background here before we dive deeper into this great information from Norga Geddes on her new book. Anyone who takes a conventional course in nutrition, medical school, nursing school, or any chiropractic or naturopathic school, they get taught that the brain tissues and organs greatly depend upon sufficient blood sugar to fuel energy and maintain their day for energy level. And the whole power of fat is ignored. So we're going to go deeper into why we need to take a closer look at using fat and why you should be a fat burner instead of a sugar burner. Take a short break, get some Primal Edge.
Yep, start the day off right, folks, with some Primal Edge. And also pick up our Health Signals newsletter. I'm writing the new one right now. Lots of good stuff that we're talking about.
Be right back. Short break.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. The fact is that we are one of two things. We are either a sugar burner or we are a fat burner. And perhaps since fat has erroneously been assumed to be inherently evil, nothing about its potential vital role in our health is ever discussed in mainstream education. One of the reasons why I did not pursue a mainstream health education. We're encouraged to avoid it at all costs and not ask questions.
And that's still really in the mindset of the general public, I think. People really go to that aisle that says low fat. We're taught that the complex carbs, up to 11 servings a day of grains, beans, rice, potatoes, pasta, should form the very basis for our daily food supply, with an only honorable mention of maybe lean meats and fish.
Yeah, obviously the word lean is capitalized.
Always lean, yeah. And this is what is advertised, always. It has to be lean, and exactly the opposite is true. So only we're allowed a little bit of fat in there because we know there is some health benefits from it. We, and the mainstream, really don't emphasize any health benefits from fat except maybe from an omega-3 or something like that.
Yeah, traditional nutritionists will have us eat a large breakfast and make sure you have a snack during the day to keep your blood sugar up.
Yeah,
we want to make sure you keep your blood sugar levels up so that later you become an annuity for our medical industrial complex.
Well, it's actually, an annuity is a good word because there they have the guarantee that you will be back. Whereas if you're just having some bacon and eggs.
Blood sugar management is big business.
And you're pouring, when I make those bacon and eggs in the morning and then I put them on my plate, I'll take the extra grease, which I know is saturated fat, and pour it all over the eggs. And that's really my little buffer for this cold weather that we're getting. It's just something that I know I'm not going to be hungry. I'm not going to need a snack in 2 hours. I may not even have to eat in 4 or 6 hours. I may be just content.
Right. And it's not, and it's about eating food that fuels us, that sustains us.
Yeah.
So is there a need for blood sugar for our energy, real and invalid? Is it valid? Is that a valid argument? Or is it just like its initials would suggest, BS?
Blood sugar.
Blood sugar.
Okay, I like that.
Question, Nora says, okay, good. As with many things, the answer, it depends. But what if the basic essentiality of blood sugar for our brains, organs, and day-to-day energy was really just a myth?
So it's valid that we do need blood sugar for our brain and for our organs and for many things. Of course, we don't need it directly from carbohydrates.
But we're taking away the fact that our body actually knows how to make it.
Yeah. Well,
the
point I'm trying to make is that the fat actually is converted into whatever the body needs. It's a nice, slow burn. It's a beautiful thing that is in your body and protects you. And this is really the protection that Nora was talking about, that these carbohydrates are so powerful that we need very, very little of them.
Yes, I like what she says. In fact, what if the dependence on blood sugar for our day-to-day energy actually did more harm than good, and what if there was an alternative, which there is? And this alternative were the very fuel that we were actually designed to depend upon nearly all the time from the very beginning, and that very fuel was the one that you actually had the hardest time using, all because you were too busy fueling yourself with sugar.
Yeah, and if we're fat adapted, meaning that we're in the zone of burning fat, then everything is nice and calm and we have an endless supply. Remember, folks, that the blood sugar itself, or the carbohydrates, are distributed around the body near the muscles, just kind of like a package along with the muscles in case you needed it for an emergency. If for some reason you needed to go for a 10-mile walk, you have all the fuel you need in the body from the fat. However, if all of a sudden you need to run, you still have that fuel, but perhaps you'd be tapping into that flight or fight risk, that little energy that we need to all of a sudden get away from somebody, or maybe go after somebody or something to eat. We have that stored in our muscles and it rides right along with the fuel that we need. So we get a big burst of energy, and all of a sudden that fuel is there, stored in our muscles, and we go back to fat burning as soon as it's over again. So
and I do see such a difference with people that I know in family, and we were together a lot during the holidays. I notice, I can tell who's really a sugar burner just by their grazing habit. They come creeping around the kitchen, open the refrigerator door, oh, I need something else. You know?
Well, it's not only that, it's the mind that goes along with that. The mind is actually looking and picking and grazing and, searching. It's an automatic reflex. You don't realize what's going on, but you do it, where the people are really adapted to a fat-burning lifestyle. There is no grazing. There's not even looking. There's just conversation with people, and you're in the moment most of the time. So it's
so. What are the consequences of using this sugar? So what does it actually mean? If we look at the macronutrients in our diet, proteins, carbs, fats, strictly from the standpoint of the energy they provide or our metabolic fire, the energy they help us throw off, then carbohydrates in this context can be viewed as a form of metabolic kindling. Which we've shown.
Like paper and small sticks.
Right. Gives you a burst of fire and then it burns out fast.
Right.
Brown rice, beans, and whole grains could effectively be viewed as twigs on a metabolic fire, where white rice, cereal, potatoes, pasta, and bread would be paper on the fire. Yes. And substances like alcohol would constitute gasoline on that metabolic fire.
Yeah. So there's really a good picture of what it is. And I've often said my metaphor was always going to the drag strip. And you go there on your normal fuel, which is gasoline. You get to the drag strip, you pick the stuff off the carburetor, and you pour nitro in the carburetor. And then you go to the drag strip for a quarter mile, and that's exactly like storing it in your muscles. It's right there in the carburetor. You get that injection of nitro. Then you go home, you're burning the gasoline again. So gasoline versus nitro. And nitro is really hard on your car. It's a fuel that burns very fast. But it's very hard on the car, and kind of like the sugar would be hard on our bodies, on our mind.
Burning hard, burning fast, whereas that slow-burning log. And as Nora says, she lives in Minnesota where it's cold, so the wood-burning fireplace is a good analogy for people to understand, And the problem would be is that these little twigs and paper do not sustain the warmth or the metabolic engine.
And the other thing, the sugar's presence in your body additionally attracts what is termed as free radical activity, which leads to an unhealthy oxidation damage of tissues. Sugar also goes under a process known as glycation, and this is the sticky part of the protein that mixes with the sugar and gets all sticky and then attaches itself to the artery walls in your bloodstream, clogging things up. And this is what clogs things up, not the fat.
And I believe that when you see older people and you see a lot of what we call liver spots, or aging spots, this is a result of the glycation.
Yeah, and the result is
and low selenium, because trace minerals get depleted with white stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's the result of the omega-3, the polys that are that color.
Right, it's the oxidation of the bad fats, right?
Pushed to the surface, pushed out of the way, kind of, because they're not being used. So that's a sign that you're not using the omega-3s because perhaps you don't have enough saturated fat going through your body because you're not eating.
That's such an important point, what you just said again, because that's how you open this article up, is that, yes, there are some crucial polyunsaturated fats that we need, say DHA, but not in trail mix, guys. But let's take that DHA in the context of a complementary saturated fat, so your body can use both fats, because both fats are crucial.
Yeah, and one protects the other.
That's right. We'll take a short break.
We'll be right back, folks. The number here is 877-927-6648. And I've got a nice article contrary to this, so let's go into that. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
So, hey, welcome back. And who really benefits from a diet based on carbohydrates? Certainly not people that eat them and are forced to live eating these types of foods. The food industry, the diet industry, big agriculture, and the pharmaceutical companies are ultimately the ones that benefit from a diet high in carbohydrates, and they make out like bandits, quite frankly. But instead, if you elect to metabolically adapt yourself to fat, you become free, and you have efficiently removed the constant need for blood sugar for your primary energy, mood, and cognitive functioning. But like we always like to do here, we love to present a point and a counterpoint.
Yes.
Nico.
This how to become a fat burner instead of a sugar burner and why you shouldn't. And this is by Ari Whitten from ariwhitten.com. That's ARIWHITTEN. He says a lot of people, the statements are become a fat burner instead of sugar burner. You will have amazing energy, incredible physical and mental performance, no crashes, and you burn off body fat in days. Or they say that it's completely true. You're just becoming fat adapted, so you're predominantly burning fat, and all your problems go away. So is this true or not? He says, well, this is not true. And he says that...
well, I think, let me just interject. Yeah. I think what he's going to lead up to is exactly what she was saying. We need these saturated fats to help activate our fat burning and to make us be able to use all the fats. And many people are getting healthy fats, and they're getting a lot of nuts and things like that, and they're using olive oil and avocado, but they're missing, avocado's got a little bit of saturated fat, but let's go on. This
meta-analysis that they took is from 2014, and it's a kind of cherry-picked comprehensive review of scientific studies. Is that there's probably little or no difference in weight loss, and then this is what they're really focusing on, is weight loss and changes in cardiovascular risk factors for up to 2 years following this test.
It was when overweight people and obese adults with or without diabetes type 2 were randomized to either having a low carbohydrate diet or a higher carbohydrate diet.
And what they did at the end of this, they found there was no difference in weight loss, and this is what they were concentrating on. And there was a couple of other studies, and they were concentrating mostly on weight loss of this, and they compared two 1,500 calorie diets and a moderate calorie diet, so which was 40% carbohydrates. One was 5% carbohydrates, and they found, again, there was no difference in weight loss between the two of them.
So their summary statement was, these studies make it abundantly clear, according to this author, that there is simply no validity to the claims that carbohydrates or insulin have some unique fattening effect that's different from any other calorie source like fat. That's what his interpretation is of the studies. So as long as calories haven't changed, high carb, low fat diets, low carb, high fat diets, get ready for it. Absolutely no difference in fat loss, none. That's what he says.
So one of the things, of course, if calories are calories in a way, what I find, my personal experience is when I'm on a high-fat diet, I eat less, and so I consume less calories. Bingo, and there's your answer. So yes, calories for calories is probably the same. But what happens, too, is the whole thing switches, because if you're a high-carbaholic and you're going along your day, you're not burning fat at all unless you start exercising ferociously.
Right, this is what he says. Listen, let's just listen. So this guy's saying the bottom line is if you eat 1,500 calories while on a high-carb, low-fat diet, or you eat 1,500 calories on a high-fat, low-carb diet, and you lose the exact same amount of body fat, we're not just talking about losing weight. We're talking about cardiovascular health. We're talking about neurological health.
Yeah, we're talking about health.
We're talking beyond weight loss. We're talking about organ gland health. Here's the big problem. Being a fat burner by eating a low-carb diet has absolutely nothing to do with burning fat off your body, is what he's saying. This article really says you become a fat burner because fat, not carbs, is the predominant fuel you're eating, not because you're burning more fat off your body. Okay, so this article is really targeting weight loss.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, too, as I was saying, if you're a carbaholic and you're eating a lot of carbs, when you start exercising, your body runs out of carbs pretty fast because it's stored along the muscle lines. And then when that ends, then you slowly switch over to being a fat burner. So after maybe 45 minutes to an hour on a treadmill, you will start burning fat. Then when you stop exercising, you'll stop burning fat. And that's really what The Biggest Loser was all about. Beat them to death, get the fat off. However, if you're adapted into a ketogenic diet for a while, either 3 months or a year, after you've completely settled down, your body switches over to burning fat 100% of the time, except when you're exercising. And when you're exercising strenuously, then you deplete some of those carbs that are around your muscles and then go back to the fat burning. So there's a very short time that you're actually using those carbohydrates, where if you're burning sugar all the time, there's a very short time that you're burning fat. So it all really depends on how you set yourself up. So it just makes sense that being a fat burner is a lot more healthier because you're burning fat all day long. If you're on a fast, of course, you're going to tap into your body's stores.
Well, I'm going to say that what we do know is that it is sugars that get stored as fat. So if you're eating in excess of carbohydrates, you're more likely to stay in that constant rut of storing more fat. And this author says countless studies have shown that what you actually are burning if you eat a lot of high-fat diet is you're eating that cream, that saturated fat and animal fat you ate that day. You're not burning the fat from your body. Well, what I will tell you is, as you mentioned, when you eat these fats, you become conscious, or actually subconsciously, you just stop eating as much. So you're eating those healthy fats, but when you run out of those fuels, you're not running to eat a rice cake. Your body just says, oh, I know how to go burn that fat off my thigh. Yeah,
in fact, it's burning it all the time, except under real strenuous conditions. So it's a complete flip. And the good thing is, when you're burning fat, I do think you're recycling it. In other words, you may not see it under an experiment that you're burning your body fat, but believe me, it's all being recycled. Instead of where the sugar is storing it as fat, it's storing it as a toxin. That's a whole different, it's trying to get rid of it. It can't burn it fast enough. The only way it can get rid of it is store it as fat.
Well, and that was a really cool point. They're storing it as a toxin. It is a toxin because excess blood sugar in the blood is a toxin, and the body sends out the insulin to say, hey, cells, do you need some of this sugar? I need to get it out of the bloodstream. Hurry up, help me out, open up. And then the cells are like, I've got more than enough sugar in my cells. I'm not going to open up.
Right.
So the cell membranes have been many times damaged, so they don't function to let the sugar in because the people aren't eating what? Enough fat.
Right, and if you're not a fat burner, you're probably eating fats that are not good for you, because then you're eating a lot of this junk that's out, the PUFAs. We're talking about the vegetable oils now, the bad PUFAs that are in there. We do have some good PUFAs, but they are only really activated with saturated fat, as we just found out.
Any PUFAs, you want to take them with antioxidants to keep... you know, I learned that from Ray Peat. If you're going to take your fish oil, you're going to eat a piece of fish, make sure you take some vitamin E to fight the free radical damage of the PUFA when it gets in your body. Or, as Nora is saying, this great tip today, I mean, if you take nothing from it, more saturated fat in your diet, more fats that have these antioxidants. Even a fat like cod liver oil over just some other fish oils has that vitamin A and D, which are helping to protect it, you know, vitamin K too.
It has saturated fat along with the PUFAs. That's the real beauty of that cold water cod liver oil. And that's why a lot of people really, that fermented cod liver oil is there. It's a lot better than just omega-3s by itself.
So we'll kind of wrap this conversation up about being a fat burner versus a sugar burner. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of The Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV. But if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back. You know, we have the power to turn on fat burning by way of our food choices, and that's pretty powerful stuff. What's more powerful, in my opinion, is understanding how we're constantly turning fat burning off by our food choices, even without knowing it. And there's one particular hormone, and that's insulin, that loudly signals our body to turn off all the fat burning.
Yeah, and especially many of us, myself included, who will often carry excess weight. We're allowing insulin to shout that message to our bodies to store fat. And, you know, our control of our blood sugar and our insulin response is the primary determinant of our weight loss, energy levels, food cravings, mood, focus, etc. So here, let's give them some tips on how you can understand your body and how you can help your body to not store fat and how to burn fat, and how it's not going to happen if your insulin is high. Incidentally, a lot of people say to me, oh, I went to my doctor and my glucose levels are good, and they're struggling with weight. How many doctors order a fasting insulin? Hardly any, because it's an expensive test. And many people, the reason their glucoses are low is their insulin levels are so high, they've been pumping out so much insulin that they're actually pushing it, which is the teeter-totter of diabetes, prediabetes, is into hypoglycemic, or most people still think that a blood sugar of 100 is normal, and it's not. It's a sign of pending things to come.
Tests have changed. The numbers, they always make them a little bit higher, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's remember the carbohydrates, they must be broken down into smaller building blocks so that they can be used as fuel. In the case of carbohydrates, those building blocks are sugar, to be used for fuel or to be stored. And this sugar travels through the bloodstream. Then insulin comes along to kind of regulate that. Remember, it's emergency, so the fire truck is going out there, and that's the insulin. And then insulin is really volatile also, and that's also stored as fat along with the fat. So it's kind of a double whammy. When you have too much insulin, you have too much sugar, both of them are stored as fat, and you become fatter and fatter and fatter and less resistant.
Absolutely. The insulin hormone is the instruction to, it keeps you in a permanent fat storage. You're not going to lose
and probably
body
in
fat.
our ancient ancestors, it was used most of the time in the fall. Especially in the northern climates, when all of a sudden they'd come along some fruit or something like that, or maybe they found the honey, and they were.
A lot of people believe that's the seasonality of the apples and some of the starchy fruits, which I do love an apple here and there.
Yeah, and I remember gorging myself on apples, crab apples, in the orchards up in Canada.
Even cranberries. Think about them. They're around Thanksgiving.
Blueberries. Yeah,
all of these berries. Now, blueberries are kind of low. The berries are a little lower on that.
But you sit there and eat the whole bush. I mean, you're going to get.
You didn't get them in a nice little basket.
Well, we used to bring them. What was left was brought home, and then we'd sort them out through the twigs, and then have nice cream over it with sugar.
Okay, so here's two pearls, guys. In order to turn on fat burning in your body, two conditions must be met. The right hormone environment and less fuel available than your body needs to operate. Simple. Eat less. And who eats less? Fat burners, or people that are eating more fat in their diet.
Start off your breakfast right.
But then see, a lot of people focus only on that number two. They eat less without regard to their hormone balance. I believe that hormone balance is absolutely crucial. And one of my favorite guys right now that I love, I've always loved him, his book is Dr. Eric Berg. If you guys want to watch some really good videos. B-E-R-G. He's just awesome. And he wrote his book about hormone types, and how you store your fat determines what hormones are out of balance. So hormone restoration is important. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients, is say, let's get healthy first. Let's get your hormones balanced. Then the weight management will be easier.
And the hormone that we're really talking about is, of course, insulin, and we don't want to spike the insulin, so that means eating less carbs, especially in the morning. And, of course, the processed foods are the carbs that really get us into trouble. If you're eating vegetables in the morning, probably not too much of an impact, but probably still not a wise choice. Some kind of protein from an animal is preferred for your body. That's the way it is. Stick around, folks. Somebody else is coming up here. I'm not sure who, but we're going to be here again later on in the week. So thanks for sticking around. See ya.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.